Hey there, everybody. Welcome to another NSG Intellivision Amico live chat. I have two guests with me today. So joining me is Days Gaming. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, No Swear Gamer?
Not too shabby. And also Master System Marceau. So welcome, MS.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I had these two guys on for specific reasons for tonight's topic. But first of all, before we dig in deep, Dazed, why don't you just talk a little bit about your channel, what you do, how people can find you?
Sure. Yep, my channel's name is Days Gaming. I'm on YouTube. Uh, I really do all sorts of different kind of videos. I have been talking about the Amico over the last few months because it's become it's a pretty fascinating topic. I do, gaming videos, playing video games, going out looking for things. I go game hunting. So, a few different things. You'll find a lot of different things in my channel.
And Master System, what about you? What's your channel all about?
Yeah, well, like the name, it's about the Sega Master System. I stream every Saturday at 2 p.m. Master System games, and these days I've been also talking a lot about the Amico. I make also hot takes about gaming news. That's about that for now.
And it doesn't get any hotter than the Amico right now. So we will begin into a very interesting topic. I will get into that in a second. Before we get into tonight's topic, I just wanted to give an update on the Start Engine campaign and get your guys' take real quickly. So let's look. This was after 72 hours. I believe this was this Sunday night. This might have been last Sunday night. I'm not entirely sure. But this is where they sit today. So I'm still getting used to adding stuff to the stream. So I have to learn how to delete this and then get a different screen going. So let's go ahead and share the screen. So this is today. Let's see, share. Let's share right here. There we go. And that is right now. So as you can see, I believe that was after 72 hours. And since then, they've raised another about $7,000. And they have not been raising a lot of money. Just to give you an idea, they want to get $5 million. This is just over 1% of their goal. I think lately they've been raising about $1,000 or less per day. I think actually lately it's been less than that. And they spend about, according to their 2020 numbers, $6,800 per day just on operating expenses alone. Wow. So what I wanted to ask you guys is two things. We are supposed to get an update on their shipping update at the end of this month, or maybe the early next month. So my question to you is twofold. One, will we be given some sort of update anytime soon? Like, when do you think we'll actually get an update from them? And the second question is, what do you think that update will be?
You want to go first, Days?
Sure. Well, the update was supposed to come it's supposed to be at the end of the month, correct? Isn't that what they've been saying?
Yeah, they said end of the month, but when he was on, when Phil Adam was on that introductory Amico After Dark or whatever, he did say possibly March 1st.
That's right, he did. Well, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. It's hard to know with this company. They said that they were really trying hard to get some of those pre-orders out by the end of the year. And we never really heard any kind of an update from that. And I think like a week or two later, I think they may have said something, but who knows, really, honestly. I would see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to say something. I mean, because it hopefully, maybe if they are going in with the new direction with this new CEO, maybe they want to try to earn some credibility back by actually doing what they say they're going to do. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did get something by the end of the month, but at the same time, I'm not going to be surprised if we don't. So I really don't know, to be honest with you, when we should expect something. And what was the second part of your question?
What do you think the update will be? Do you think it will be a true, like, we're shipping out stuff, or do you think it might be a change of directions of some sort?
I think it's going to be a change of direction. I really do, just because I mean you're looking at they're not receiving any money. They're not getting the investments, and so I just I feel like they should move in the direction of focusing on the software and not so much on the hardware. That's what I've said all along. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's where they were going in a new direction. That's kind of what I feel this could be.
Yeah, I personally think we'll get an update by the end of the month. However, I think it will be just another delay, especially with this new crowdfunding. I believe that they were really hoping on getting funds in order to manufacture the consoles, but it's really not doing well. So I think they will just delay some more, see if any big investor comes in, and if not, they might start facing the reality of the situation, in my opinion.
Personally, I think their update, the timing of it, is tied to this Start Engine campaign.
Yeah.
I think they were waiting to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Personally, pure speculation, but personally, I think they're waiting to see if they're going to raise enough money to start production, which right now doesn't seem to be the case. Now, they did admit that they're looking for outside investors too. So you never know. There could be some Mr. Moneybags who drops, just oodles of money into this. I doubt it, but it's possible. However, everything, the way it's looking right now, I think they will give an update. It could be a delay. You could be right. It could be another delay as they wait and hope maybe some last second investors come into Start Engine. But I think when they do give an update, it's going to be a change of directions. I don't see units getting shipped out. I could be wrong, but I don't see any units getting manufactured anytime soon. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they have the money. They would take a financial miracle.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight I really wanted to dig into a topic that I've been thinking about talking for a while, and I am going to kind of, when I get into this, I'm going to kind of explain how it caught my interest and then get your guys' take on it. But that's the psychology of what's going on with the Intellivision Amico, Tommy Tallarico, this whole cult thing. Is it real? Is it just a name that's being thrown around? I really want to kind of dig into that because to me, I find that fascinating. And Dazed Gaming a while ago, just a few days ago, was doing a video where he said, and this is what really prompted me to do this as a live stream, where you said that you studied a little bit of psychology in college. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. I majored in psychology. I never ended up graduating. I had my own struggles with partying, but I was a major for a while, and I've always been fascinated by psychology. I've always kind of followed it, looked into it, and I've even done a little bit of counseling myself. So it's something that interests me.
And you've been paying close attention to this. You've connected with people on both sides of this. So I'm really interested in your take. And Marceau, you interest me because for lack of better words, you kind of said, you've woken up, or you've seen the light, or you've come to reality when it comes to the Amico. Like you were a big time pro Amico person, you were a big supporter of Tommy. And it sounds like you're kind of like coming to the realization that this isn't turning out as good as anyone has hoped.
Exactly. With the recent events, and especially this fourth crowdfunding, and just seeing everything around it, like the new CEO, and this past with the Colico Chameleon. I would have never imagined that we would be here and now in 2022 and still waiting for some more updates. It's just, at this point, it's become ridiculous. And yes, I was a big fan of, it feels weird to say that, but I used to be a big fan of Tommy. Indeed, he seemed like a great guy to me. But it's like when you go buy a car and the guy might be very friendly with you, and like lately we bought a car, and the guy is one of our neighbors, and we're like, oh, he's nice, maybe we're gonna have barbecue and stuff together. maybe he doesn't also maybe he doesn't care. You know, he just wanted to sell the car. And I feel like, you know, like we've been maybe I've been waking up from this dream with him, and because otherwise the console seemed great in 2020, but nothing has changed. And Tommy, you've seen also you've seen him for the past 2 years saying plenty of things that I will not repeat on this channel because those are swears.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Things a CEO should never be saying. His Twitter account blocks people, like he blocked the official Intellivision account blocked Pat and Ian. And at the time, there was a few months back when I noticed that, and I tweeted to Tommy, hey, why is the official YouTube Twitter account blocking people like Pat and Ian? And of course, he never responded to that, because when it bothers him, he ignores it or he gets mad, So it's just, I've put, all the pieces together at some point in my mind, and I was like, no, I've been duped. This wasn't. I thought he was a nice guy, but I don't think that he was necessarily a nice guy at the end of the day.
It's interesting. I'm sure all of us, or a lot of us, have had times where we've encountered salesmen or someone who's trying to push something. It could be anything from a product to a religion or whatever. But you meet these people and they are super nice, super charming at the beginning. And then something comes out. For instance, I have two stories. One time I met someone who went door to door selling a cleaner, and he would like spray your front porch to show how clean it cleaned. And I'm a very I'm a get along guy. I'll listen to people, even if I'm not, necessarily interested. So I listened to his little spiel. And when he realized that I wasn't going to buy it, his demeanor changed on a dime.
Right.
Like he almost got frustrated that I wasted his time, even though I was trying to be polite. And then there was another guy I know, he sold cookware, pots and pans. And he was just as nice as can be. People in the neighborhood loved him. And then a few months later, he traveled around the country selling stuff. Then a few months later, his name was on TV for embezzling money or stealing orders. And, who knows what happened, but it just goes to show that there are, and I'm not saying that this is exactly who Tommy Tallarico is, but I'm saying is that there are people out there who are very charming, but their only goal is to sell you something.
Right. And Tommy also does that too. And you notice like I've talked with Tony about that. Like when he first interviewed Tommy, that Tommy kind of reached out and was asking him, wanting to be friends, like at first. And Tony was, no, I'm going to be interviewing you. Let's not try to go down that way. And I think that's what Tommy has done is reach out, and he's been really friendly, and he's offering, a lot of these smaller channels the opportunity to interview somebody who is somewhat of a celebrity. And if you aren't like mesmerized by his idea and who he is, it seems to me like he does kind of turn, like you were saying, like they just kind of turn to me. Well, you're wasting my time. I don't need you. Yeah. That's kind of what I've seen as well.
So let me just make some disclosures before we go further. We are not trained psychologists.
No, we're not.
This is just for entertainment purposes. Yes. And also, this discussion is not meant as an attack on anyone. No. If anything, I think most of us, if all of us, probably we want to help others who possibly might be being manipulated and not even realizing it. Yeah. And just because someone likes the Amico doesn't mean that they are a brainwashed cult member. No. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. Is there any other disclosures you guys think we need to add before we go on?
No, I said that in my video as well the other day, that I'm not, I'm not trying to rub this in anybody's faces. I'm actually wanting it to be, I said, you can come to me and talk with me. I want to learn. I don't want to hold this against anybody. I mean, I've been preparing for this. I've been doing some research, a lot of research on cults, not saying that, and what they are is not a straight up 100% a cult. They have, though, some tendencies and some characteristics of a
Right,
cult.
right.
And
It's
that's what I've been really, it's fun to say, oh, they're a cult, but I mean, let's be honest, they're not,
it's
you
not Jim
know.
Jones and they're going to commit, they're going to go live
Exactly.
together
I
and
would
commit
hope not,
mass suicide. I don't think that is accurate, right? Because there are genuine cults that are extremely destructive,
Yes.
and I don't think this is at the same level. But I do want to get into discussion about examining, is there some perhaps danger signs or cult-like behavior
Yes.
that is seen within what's going on with the Amico. So let me start by kind of just sharing my own personal story, how I went from someone who, when people called the Intellivision Pro side a cult, I was like, that's silly. Why are you even doing that? Why are we name calling? You know, I was like, they like the Intellivision doesn't mean that they're a cult, right? And I went to someone who went from that to being like, you know what? There are some similarities and they are concerning to me. And so I wanted to share kind of my awakening, if you will. So let me see if I can find this. I'm still learning how to share screens and do it efficiently. So first of all, let's share this. So this is an email, August 7th, 2021. And this is kind of famous now for people are infamous, but they say this: in spite of these supply hurdles hampering our ability to fill all orders, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-order units by the end of the year. Okay. So I'm sure if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with that. So that was in August.
Yeah.
So now let me share the next email. And I'm sorry that this takes a few seconds to go through the clicks because StreamYard doesn't work as well as I want it to. But let's go to the second email. And here it is. This is November 23rd now. So we were in August, now we're in November. And it says, we have started pre-production. We've finished it. And we're starting formal production. And we hope to give you shipping information by the end of the year. We're still waiting for that shipping information, by the way. We're still waiting for it. But at that time, I was like, wait a minute. I thought they were hoping to be done by the end of the year, not start production. Shouldn't you have started production already? And I'm starting to wake up to this and being like, I think y'all are misleading people. I think you know that this is not going to happen, and you're just trying to get people, you know, to string along, to get buy time, if you will. And then the last email, and again, sorry, it takes me a while to get this out. Here's the email right at December. People are waiting for the end of the year. So what do you get? Do you get a shipping update? Do you get a tracking number? Are they asking for the money? No, they say, here's our pilot productions, our pilot plastics, which means they haven't even started the manufacturing in December. And at that time, I was like, this is crazy. Like, you are misleading people. I couldn't believe it. And I was really waiting to hear what people were going to say. I was waiting to hear, like, because there are people on the pro side who said, you know, if this thing doesn't come out by the end of the year, I'm done. And yet they made one excuse after another. They acted like it was not a big deal. They acted like they weren't deceived. And that was the moment in time when the reaction was, oh, it's no big deal that they lied to us again. At that moment in time, I'm like, Marcel, there's some beeps that are getting really loud, just so you know.
All right, I will shut. Yeah, it's my phone. There you go.
So no worries. I love the sonic ring, by the way. I do like that is definitely a ring tone. Okay, so so I was like, why aren't people calling Tommy out on this? And so I want to ask you first, Master System, because you were interested in this. Were you following this? Were you aware of these, like, hey, we're going to do it by the end of the year, and then it doesn't happen? Were you following that? And if so, like, did it not like ring a bell? Like, hey, something's off here.
Yeah, I started to have certain doubts then. But again, I was trusting what they were saying. I don't know why I didn't already wake up at the time. But yeah, for me, it was like, okay, maybe it's the pandemic. I believed it at the time. Maybe they had an issue with factories. But now, I mean, we don't even have a release date. And I should have woke up at the time already. Absolutely.
So why do you think you didn't? You know, I understand everybody, you know, for waking up or whatever, coming to a realization. It takes people time to process and to accept it. Why do you think you personally were like, hey, no big deal?
I think was trusting Tommy. I think I don't see any other reason. I don't see any other reason. And I really wanted to have that console. And I thought, people criticizing it were just I don't think that's just where if I say they were just haters. So, but they had valid criticism. They were not anything.
So, and this brings me to an article, because as I was researching this, as this was going on, and I almost made a video about this, I came across this article from Psychology Today. And I'm going to go through it because it is a very short article. It's called Truth Bias. It's by Jack Schaefer, a PhD, and he calls it a psychological cloak for deception. So again, this is a short article, and then I want to get your guys' take on this. So it says, people want to believe others despite evidence to the contrary. This is normal reaction because in general, people tend to believe others. This phenomenon is referred to as truth bias, allows society and commerce to run efficiently. Absent truth bias, people would spend an inordinate amount of time checking information provided by others. Truth bias also serves as a social default. Relationships with friends and business colleagues would become strained if their veracity was constantly questioned. Faced with minor discrepancies in a story, people tend to excuse away inconsistencies because they want to believe the person who is telling the story. It provides liars with an advantage because people want to believe what they hear, see, or read. The effect is stronger if the person telling the story is a close friend, a spouse, or our children. It diminishes when people become aware of the possibility of deception. And the best defense against this is called judicious skepticism. And I want to give this one example that they put in this article, and then I want to get your guys' feedback. So he gives an exchange between a salesperson and a client, which I think is close to what we're talking about. And the client says, we're about to give you a large order. Your company is a small startup. Do you have enough manufacturing capacity to fill our order? And the salesperson says, I can guarantee on-time deliveries. We're going to expand our capacity in the near future. The client says, good, drop the contract. And the author says, basically, in this exchange, the salesperson's response is just accepted. He fell victim to truth bias. Since the client wanted to believe the salesperson, he either overlooked, excused away, or did not recognize the possibility that the salesperson's guarantee may not have been as strong as he led his client to believe. Judicial skepticism increases the probability of obtaining more accurate information. So then he gives the second exchange. We're about to give you a large order. Do you have enough capacity to fill it? The salesperson says, I can guarantee this. And the client says, showing some skepticism. And then the salesperson says, well, it may take up to a year to get full capacity for our new facility. And he says, using judicial skepticism, the client was able to glean additional information that may impact his or her decision. I think this is very
it's good. Yeah.
It's a very interesting and very fitting what's going on with the Amico. This seems to like almost go hand in step, or whatever the thing is of what they're saying. What do you guys think?
I was thinking while you were reading that, I don't think people expect to be lied to quite a bit. It's just, we live in a society, and we tend to all be moving towards goals, being truthful, and that's why that's just what the whole thing has been, and that's what's fascinated me about the Amico. Is it's why would Tommy be dishonest? And why would he? And a lot of the question that I have is it like an unconscious thing? Like, does he have issues too, where maybe he doesn't want to disappoint people, or he wants to always say the positive things, and we're going to make these shipment dates, and yes, we're like to always be giving positive things to the people that are pro Amico, and that's what I wonder. Is this intentional? Is he as is it as devious as I think that it is, or not? You know, and then
So it's a fair question. Like, does it goes back, and I'm not saying, and Smash, welcome to the stream. We're going to get to you in just a second. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, no worries.
So the question is, if you think Tommy is a cult leader or has cult-like behavior, is it conscious or is it subconscious? It's like, does a cult leader realize they're a cult leader? And that's something that probably psychologists could really have a field day with. Smash, welcome. I'm so glad you can make it.
Yeah, I can only stay for a little bit because I know there's some people that really don't like me in the comments section. I can definitely understand that. So please don't leave if you're not happy that I'm here. Don't worry, I won't be here too long. But yeah, what's up? What's up? How can I contribute?
You could dude, you could do a lot of contributing. So have you been listening to the stream? I don't know how much you've listened to so far.
I have, yes. I've been listening. Marco sent me the link probably for about 15 minutes, so about the whole time.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts just so far on what we covered about truth bias and that kind of thing when it comes to Tommy and the Amico?
It's wild being so involved that you're so close to it that you don't see the forest for the trees. Like, I still look at Tommy as a good guy, so I don't know if that helps at all, but I'm like, I don't know if he is convinced himself that this is not gonna work out. You know what I mean? Like, that's why there's a lot of things that he's done, a lot of things that I could say, and a lot of things that could be considered gaslighting people. But the other way to look at it is maybe those things are real. Maybe those things are true. And God forbid somebody don't take him for his word and think that he's gaslighting when actually he's going through a lot of crap right now. And you're just an asshole, or a-hole. Sorry, no swearing.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's hey, if one slips, I'm not. It doesn't like make me melt or anything. So, so some of this questionable behavior that people sees. Do you think that in Tommy's behavior, do you think Tommy does it consciously, or do you think this is a subconscious thing?
I think it's one and the same. I think it's who he is. I don't think he's putting on a persona to fool people, which I think a lot of people are starting to think that's what he does. And I'm like, no, I think that's just who he is. That's how he knows how to be. Like, if you're a really good car salesman, I don't think that's something you turn on and off when you go to work. That's who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's Tommy. Like, he's always selling, he's always selling. And he's really, really charming. Ton of charisma. Like, I was joking with someone the other day. I'm like, if this guy was like a make your own character, he'd have 100 on charisma. Like, he would be, It would be all the stats maxed on that. And then you'd look at honesty and it wouldn't be as high as charisma.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of people have told me when I talk to them who have met him is he's just the nicest guy. He's a friend. Nick Richards said he's a close personal friend to everybody, which goes back to that article about truth bias is when you feel like someone's your friend, you're less likely to question them.
Yes. And that was me to a T. I felt, I mean, you saw the video. That was raw. That was me. That's how I feel. Like, I felt like I was betraying a friend by saying, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I feel like such a horrible person for recognizing that, because I'm like, he has never done anything to me to make me lash out at him or go against him or quote unquote expose him. Like, he's been nothing but nice to me. So it makes me feel like such a jerk. It makes me feel like I'm doing him wrong right now. When I'm just like, but this is what's happening. This is how I feel about it. And like you showed, when they give these dates, these promises, and then say it will be in development, then they say it is in development, and then they say Okay, we'll have an update. And it's like, this is all over the course of a year. Like, when do people, that's when I woke up. I'm like, when do people start saying, like, okay, I know it's just a piece of plastic, but it's becoming so much more than that because real lives are involved, real money is involved, and people care about this thing, and there's nothing to show for it still.
Right. Right. And I think, some people would classify me as a hater. They said, well, if the Amico goes down, it's your fault, which I think is like a thing that they just, which is disgusting. It's just it's like a talking point. It's almost like they're told, like, or somehow they know to just attack in that way. Instead of talking about ideas, they just attack, which not every pro Amico person does that, by the way. I just want to make sure that that's clear. But the thing
But
is,
I can tell you.
but
Well,
the
go
thing
ahead.
is, and then I'll let you go ahead and speak. The thing is I see people investing money in this. I see old senior citizens who put money in it Republic, and they're doing this for their family. They're doing this so they don't have to eat dog food in 10 years, so they can make money on this. And because they were told all these promises up the moon, and it just, it concerns me. I'm like, I'm afraid you're going to lose your money.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows about losing money with investments, it's me. I'm not the I'm not the smartest person when it comes to investments, but that can help sometimes when you go against the grain, like see GameStop, for example. But more often than not, it doesn't work out. But once in a while, you get one that just goes to the moon and makes up for all the other ones. But as far as the quote unquote cult situation, I've experienced a larger amount of fallout than I would have expected. I've had DMs from people who I considered my friend. Like, yeah, some are out there like the Retro Bro and stuff like that people know about. I've gotten additional ones from other people. I'm not going to just start going through them here that have called me out, and they say in their DMs things like, what Tommy's going through. This is a horrible time to do videos like that, and you're just trying to grow your brand right now. All you care about is yourself. And I'm like, holy crap, dude. Like, if I was trying to grow my brand, I'd be making videos about this every day. I got so much to talk about with it. But then I'm caught in a rock in a hard place. I'm like, do I keep talking about stuff that doesn't make sense, or do I back off because I don't want to affect somebody who's in a tough spot right now, if they're in a tough spot right now? So what's right? Speaking your mind or looking out for someone? I don't know anymore.
Because in your situation, what you're basically saying is you're caught between, do I help investors who could lose their money, or do I help my friend who's going through a tough time? And like you said, that is a tough spot. Let me ask you something. How many of these, when you got these DMs or whatever, how many of these people actually reached out to actually have a conversation versus just send you like a negative DM or something like that?
Oh, 100% were writing me off. There was nobody that wanted to have a conversation. When I dropped that first video where I just said, I'm done with this, it was like instantaneous. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3, might have been 4. But in addition to that, those DMs, I was also in a private Twitter group that immediately disbanded, that we always used to talk about what's going on with Intellivision, and like the people that were always in the know with this, and we were always having fun conversations privately every night about what we're excited about and what we're hoping for. And the second I dropped that video, people dropped. And then I said something about, in one of my videos, about how Tommy told me to make that comment in the Start Engine page. That was where Tommy told me to do that. And as soon as I said that, they disbanded the group, and I can't even see the messages anymore. And I'm just like, well, they're scared that they're going to get really exposed. So they obviously are just trying to cover their tracks right now with that. And it's just gone from like, okay, this is kind of a sketchy situation, to full-blown damage control mode by Intellivision right now. I've had Phil Adam, the CEO, reach out to me. And most recently, yesterday, I had the head of the Dubai office reach out to me. I haven't spoken to either one of them besides just, Phil I didn't even respond to. the head of the Dubai office, I just wrote a nice comment back to him saying like, hey, I'm actually out with my family right now. I can't talk, but thanks for reaching out. But all these people, the same trend is we just want to talk to you. We just want to talk to you. Like, we just want to give you the information. I'm like I said in my video, I'm done with just telling me things. I don't care about what you're thinking of doing or what you're quote unquote actively doing, because as you showed, No Swear Gamer, this is all they've done over the past years. This is what's happening. This is what we're doing. And there's still nothing to show for it.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that there won't be something to show for it in the next update. Looking at how the Start Engine campaign is going,
Yep.
it's not going good at all. Because what I hear you saying is like your buddies or whatever, none of them reached out to talk to you. The only people reaching out to talk to you is the
It's
business,
Intellivision.
is the
Yes.
muckety mucks who might and if you want to be skeptical, you could say this is just damage control. That's why they're doing that. It's interesting because also to talk about the whole, and let me just be fair. Okay. I know people have said you're just doing this for views. Like you see where the wind is changing and you're just doing it. You're looking out for your own interests, not,
if that was the case, I would have done that flip 6 months ago. Like, what the hell?
Right, and I want to say I wouldn't have a problem. Like I've been waiting for you guys or somebody to do this. Like it doesn't surprise me. I would not have a problem even if that is what you were trying to do, because it's for the first time it actually somebody is doing something that makes sense. You're doing something that makes sense since I've been following this.
In days, I can't tell you how, in a weird way, how relieving it was with all the flack that I got from the pro Amico group, to be nice. I have reconnected with so many people that we had a very challenged and strained relationship with throughout the entire saga,
Right.
because I was so hell-bent on seeing this thing through and proving everyone wrong. And in the wake of that, I was destroying friendships left and right. And I'm like, screw you, screw you, screw you. And I had to do a ton of self-reflection and come to this. And people are like, oh, we don't forgive you. I'm like, I don't expect people to forgive me. I'm just letting you know, like, I'm human, and I made the proactive choice of trying my best to have faith in this, to show you guys
Right.
what I saw when I played it, why I experienced what I did, and how excited I was for it. And what I've noticed is that's not the issue here. The issue isn't the console. The issue is the business of making it and getting it out there. Like, there's a huge problem, a big disconnect.
Yeah, and I there was a comment, and I want to ask you a question, Smash, after this comment. But there was a comment that Nick Richards made. There was someone who posted something on Start Engine who was saying this is not a good investment or whatever, their opinion. And he said, well, have you played it? And I'm thinking in my head, what does it have to do with business? You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't have a good operation, it doesn't matter.
Telling you,
there's tons of second-rate food out in supermarket shelves that are going to make more money than something that tastes better just because of the marketing.
Yep. And I'll tell you, that's the biggest. I don't know if Nick's gonna. I don't know if Nick's gonna listen to this, but
I'll take it as a compliment that I put you speechless for a second.
Yes. If Nick hears this, my advice is to stop responding to people on that page, please. Like, that's
and honestly, he's coming across differently, because I heard him talk to Tony and the Amico program, and he sounded like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air compared to Tommy. What he's like, it's like it didn't seem to be as full of just the blowing smoke kind of stuff. It was straight into the point. But this seems like a different side. Perhaps desperate, perhaps not.
Desperate.
I don't know.
It screams desperate. That's the word. Like, that's what I was about to say right when you said that. It's like, stop responding. These responses, I'm reading them just with a clear mind, and from a corporate standpoint, it just screams, we're desperate for anything in this campaign, like, so desperate. And I go back to when he said that, because I did see that response of, have you played it? I'm like, that's literally the whole battle that I was fighting for 2+ years, is I kept saying to people, have you played it? Stop. Don't talk to me till you've played it. That, you know what, though? Like I said, it goes back to, that doesn't hold anything anymore, because you can't play it if you don't make it.
Right.
So what does that matter?
Exactly.
So, and I want to circle back to 2 points. One, people are judging you, which is fine. You know, I talked about it in that article, you know, judicious skepticism. It's okay to be a little skeptical because this person might just be out for their own interest when they act like they're not. So it's fine to be skeptical about any YouTuber, but are you using that same skepticism that you're using on Smash on Tommy Tellerico, that maybe he's just saying this stuff for the money or for the success? You know,
so
are you willing to be fair and use that skepticism both ways?
No, they're not, dude. I'm so glad you said that because I literally had a conversation with somebody who will remain unnamed on Facebook today in the Amico group, talking about how they wrote me off and why they're still excited about the Amico. And I literally said the same thing. I'm like, if you read what you just wrote about the Amico, you just wrote that you're writing it off because you're frustrated. But yet it's okay for you to bitch me out in DMs because I made a video about it. But it's different because you wrote, he's like, well, you attacked Tommy and this, that, the other thing. And Tommy. I'm like, I didn't attack Tommy. Like, literally rewatch my video, man. I'm like, Tommy's putting me in a tough spot here because I'm excited about this thing and I don't know how to handle it. But just circling back to the point, these people, they don't see their own actions. They only see other people's, and it's hysterical, the hypocrisy.
And by the way, it's totally okay to be critical of the Amico and feel bad for what Tommy's going through with his dad. I said on Twitter, if you're a praying person, say a prayer for him and his dad. His dad isn't, according to Tommy, his dad is living with him in hospice care. So that's tough for anybody. However, the Start Engine thing still went on. Yeah. So it's fair game. So we can be respectful to what Tommy's going through as a person, but still be critical of something that's asking for people's money. And I want to say this too, and then Smash, if you have anything else to say, you can, because I do have other questions if you have time for them. But what you described...
Yeah, and I'm sorry, real quick. I'm sorry that I'm like taking over the whole thing. Like I said, the only reason I'm doing that is because I know I can't stay the whole time.
Yeah, I know.
Welcome, man.
Everybody wants to hear. Everybody wants to hear this.
Right,
so.
and full disclosure, you know, I did reach out. Smash will tell you, I reached out on Twitter and said, hey, can you come on? We're doing the stream. I think you'd be a fascinating guest. He said, I can't, you know, I'm busy. But thank you. So you're real cordial about it. So this was something I was hoping for, and I didn't think would happen. So I'm glad it could happen. Yeah. But I want to say everything you're expressing, you know, I expressed my feelings, and all of a sudden everyone who was once close to me and was part of these private groups is now not communicating to me or telling me how dirty I am. And I feel bad. The leader was so nice to me. I feel conflicted. That sounds like a cult case.
Yes. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, I can tell you multiple people involved have told me not to talk to you. That you are gaining an audience and that you are ruining the reputation and all these other bad things you can say about it. And when that stuff started happening, not just you were one of the many, trust me. It started the dominoes of my brain just getting knocked over. I'm like, wait, if this is that and this is that, I'm like, holy crap, I have not been seeing this clearly at all. And I think I knew that, but I was like, whatever, I'm still going to just go with this because it's a video game system. I'm invested in it and I want it to succeed. And Tommy told me they're so close, like a year ago, dude. Like, that's why I'm just how long?
He told everybody that. And what interests me, which gives credence to this whole cult thing, is more than just a joke. What gives credence is his idea. And I have heard it privately months ago from people telling me, Tommy told me not to associate with this person. Tommy told me to remove this comment from a video. Tommy told me not to do it in so many words. And what's interesting is people like me, people like the Geek Getaway, we say, hey, anyone come on. And people like us, we'll go into the lion's den, if you will. We'll go talk on a panel. You know, I was on a stream where it was me and there was like 6 or 7 people who were totally pro Amico, and it was hard to get a word in, but I did it because I believe in conversation. I believe toxicity happens when one side stops talking sincerely, when one side starts calling names. That's why there's toxicity in the retro game community, and I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but it does happen on both sides. But right now, I've seen it happen more on the pro Amico side. I've been blocked. I haven't blocked anybody, you know? And why? Because I give my 2 cents.
Well,
and I try to be as nice as it can be about it.
Let me give it from Tommy's perspective, and try to put yourself in this situation. You're the CEO back when he was CEO. You're the CEO. You're trying to raise funds. You have this undeniable passion for this console, which I genuinely believe he does. I don't think he's set up for this to be a scam or anything. I genuinely believe, I've met him a bunch of times. He's like oozing video games out of his pores. Like his house has games everywhere. Like he is not, you can't fake that. Okay.
And he loves the Intellivision. He made that clear years ago on the Intellivisionaries podcast. He grew up with it. So he has skills, he has talents, he loves games. I will totally give him credit for that.
And he's trying to raise this money for this console, right? And he has all these big dreams and big passion. And then he sees people with what I now would say are extremely logical takes, poking holes in his business plan, and him getting very frustrated when there are potential investors coming through that are canceling their huge contracts and deals because these investors, these private equity, whatever they are seeing these YouTubers that are like the Pat and Ians of the world. They're not the no-name quote unquote haters. You know, they have an audience and they have people watching them, and those people are creating a situation where the funds get taken away instead of invested. So Tommy and Intellivision would look at that as, oh, if we could have just gotten that deal through, we would have been able to afford these chips and get all this stuff. But because the haters ruined that deal, it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, the cart before the horse? Like, who's the blame on? And I would say, after taking a step back, it's like, look, man, if you got to rely on a private equity firm to keep this thing afloat, there are some major holes if a YouTuber can stop that person.
Especially in some cases, especially if they're like me and others, small time YouTubers. We don't talk to millions of people. And if these people can come out, if your product's that good, you should be like, check it out, look it over, try it. Like you should be willing to put it up against any critic. That's what the movie industry does. They throw them out there, and if the movie's good enough, it'll survive no matter what critics say. So you should have that attitude.
My biggest concern is they have multiple dev kits. When I've been to Intellivision, they've had at least 7 or 8 that I saw that were actively working. They were on different firmwares and different TVs and stuff like that, but they had a bunch of them there. But that's all they've had since their inception. And I'm like, how have you been existing for now 3 years, and that's still all you have? That tells me that the chips they bought are, this is assumption territory here, so this is no facts involved with what I'm about to say.
Speculation.
But,
okay.
Yeah, lots of speculation here, so take it with a grain of salt. But that tells me that the chipsets that they bought for those consoles were way more expensive than what they were planning on putting into them. And because of that, they haven't created more of them because they're waiting for the chipset that they want to be able to not mass produce, but at least build like 100 of these and send them out to popular YouTubers and streamers and stuff like that, just to get the word out and make some kiosks. I saw Gen X Gamer have that video talking about that today, which is a great idea. Get those kiosks out there, get people playing them, put them on a van, driving around, let people see it. They haven't done anything.
No.
And all we keep hearing is Tommy saying, oh, when we get that marketing push, when that comes, that is when this is going to blow up. And it's like, yeah, that's you got a carrot on a string that doesn't move, and it's just trapped to your helmet, and you're running forward, and it's just staying there. There's nothing. You're not getting any closer to it. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it was amazing to me too how little was done on the software side, because the pandemic can explain hardware stuff, but the software side, it's like we've seen the same games for years, games that
Yep.
were supposed to be done in 2020, and you could have worked on those remotely from home. It's not as easy, but you could still work on them at home. You could do, companies do that all the time. So it didn't make sense to me that the software was so behind, where they said in their documents, the OS isn't finished, the backend system isn't finished still. And it's like, what have you been doing? I want to ask you, Smash, because I know your time is short. I want to
Yeah,
ask
I got like
you,
2 more minutes.
I want to ask you, and if you can't answer, I understand, but how often did Tommy have private meetings with this group?
Not as often as people think. It wasn't like a scheduled thing. It wasn't like, hey, every other Tuesday or anything like that. It was when he had something big to talk about, he'd message the group and be like, hey guys, I want to share this with you. Sometimes it would be, sometimes he would just message me and just be like, hey, I just want to run this by you, because he would say to me that he respected and really trusted my opinion in a business sense, and wanted to hear my thoughts on something, because sometimes he knew that he would even say to me, he feels like he's surrounded by a bunch of yes people. He wants to hear my opinion because he knows I'd be very straightforward with them, which I was. Privately, behind closed doors, I would be extremely blunt, and I'd be who I am on my YouTube channel, that I wasn't when I was covering the Amico, with him privately. But as far as the group meetings, stuff like that, it would, I mean, a handful of times throughout 3 years. It wasn't anything crazy. I mean, maybe like 4 or 5 group calls max over the 3-year period.
And did these group calls or whatever, did they feel like, this is how we need to market this? Like telling the soldiers how to react to stuff, whether it's the offering details that was going to be released?
I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a hint of that. I don't think it was like overwhelming. That was the feeling of it, but there was definitely a hint of that with it. But that was kind of my mentality with it. Like, yeah, that's why they're giving us this info early, is because we're all on board with it and we're all fighting the same fight. And we all want, it's not like they're trying to manipulate us into tricking the public. It was like, yeah, we're all on board with this. We need to know this so we can already put up our defenses and be ready to battle what people are going to say, so that we're all ready and we're all in lockstep. We weren't questioning that. So yeah, that was.
And you mentioned before, like he would say, like, don't associate with these people. Was that a common thing?
I wouldn't paint Tommy as that specifically. That might have happened like a handful of times, but typically those were like the videos that were like really, really bad. They would go into territories where they shouldn't even be on YouTube, with talking about really personal stuff or things I'm not even going to say in this podcast. But more often than not, it was just like, this is a disgusting video. It wouldn't be flag this video if he felt like someone was lying. It would be more like, he just accused so-and-so of being a kitty toucher. You guys need to like report that video. Like the ones where I would always report if that kind of thing happened. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, that's a lie, report that video. That never happened. He would never be that extreme.
Okay, but because the kind of the impression that Atari Creep gave on his video, who's a friend of mine, and to his credit, he said he didn't take part of it, that sometimes Tommy would say, thumbs down that video, or he'd say, how high can you jump? Like asking people how far they could go for the interest of the Amico. Do you think that's an accurate take of Tommy?
I love Chris. I'll put it that way. I would not disagree with that take. I'll put it that way. I would definitely not disagree with that.
All right. Well, I probably got you in enough trouble already, so I thank you for coming on for your time. This is why I guess I'm warned not to talk to you. it's because
no. Here's the thing. Like I've been thinking about this a lot too. It's like, why should I be afraid to just be like, here's the reality of what's going on? I mean, if Intellivision or Tommy gets mad at me for just being like, WTF, like what is going on? Why am I the bad guy now for standing up and being like, enough's enough? I'm done drinking this Kool-Aid. I'm already counting my investment as a loss. Now I'm at the point of, I just want to play this thing. And now I feel like everybody else that's just questioning it. It's a very fair position to be in. And if they're going to start getting upset at that, then I think there's much deeper rooted questions that need to be asked about the entire operation. And with that being said, too, and I'll leave it at this, talking to them gets you nowhere. So why talk to them? So it's become this self-fulfilling prophecy, this circular thing where we postulate a concern, we bring it up, Intellivision denies it, nobody believes them anyways, and it turns out the people that brought it up were right. So why do we ever believe them? Why do we loop them in at all? They have yet to prove anything besides like the physical games that got made and they shipped those out, which is really cool, except can't do anything with them. And it's not the physical game that I was expecting. You know, I feel like a lot of promises were made, and that was just to hype people up. It wasn't I think Tommy bit off way more than he could chew, and he was trying to figure it out as he went along instead of really sitting down, figuring this thing out, and just getting to work on it. And I think that was the biggest mistake.
The phrase I keep hearing is over-promising and under-delivering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the phrase. And what you said, it goes back to the little banner there. It goes back to truth, bias, and the Amico. Intellivision, why should we believe you? Why should we believe that you're going to get these systems out? Show us.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
trust.
Like when Phil Adam reached out to me, I didn't even respond to his text message. I literally just called him out in a video saying, I'm not going to talk to you, Phil. There's nothing you can say to me that's going to appease me, so why bother? And that's kind of the same with the Dubai. I'm like, what? Why? Why do I need to talk to you guys? What could you possibly say or do to me to make me satisfied? Like, I've done this for 3 years. I'm getting off the merry-go-round. Like, let's get the system out.
They want to bring you back into the fold, I believe.
I would like to think they know that's not happening. I think once you awaken from the days that you're in, you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle.
No.
They're still hoping though. Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes in line with Intellivision. There's a lot of hope in that company.
Yeah,
a lot of hope everywhere. Hopes and dreams everywhere.
Exactly.
Anything else before I hop off, guys?
No, I know you're busy, so thank you for your time because I wasn't even expecting that. I'm sorry if you get any hate tweets or DMs or whatever after this, but I thank you for just talking, because that's the cure to the toxicity, is being able to talk and have these conversations like adults.
Yeah. I think as long as people can listen, there shouldn't be an issue. But I've learned if you say something, no matter what side you're on, if you're on the other side of it, there's going to be a problem. So.
Yep. Welcome to 2022.
Right. All right, I'm going to hop off, guys. Thanks so much again for having me. And if I have more time in the future, I'd be happy to join you guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Take care, man.
You too. Well, that was interesting.
Yeah. Glad we got that.
Hey, may I add something on what's been said here about Tommy and his personal life and all that? Because like you said, NSG, if anything's bad in his house, if he's got problem with his dad and all that, of course we all feel bad about that, and we wish him the best and to take care of his father and all of it. However, this should not be related to the business side of all of this. He's got issues. He can take time off. He can leave his job to somebody else if it's really that bad. And I have issues in my house, and a lot of people here and in this chat probably have personal problems and family problems and all that. And if they bring that at work, they will get fired. I will get fired. So I don't know why Tommy thinks that it's fine to use that as an excuse. And again, that doesn't diminish the fact that it might be very sad what's happening in his house, and that we should feel bad for that. But this should not be an excuse for anything.
And to be fair, I don't think Tommy, and maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen it. I don't think he's using it as an excuse. I think
Others.
this pro Amico camp
Yeah.
who's attacking the Smash JTs of the world. They're using it like, how could you dare be critical at a time when Tommy's taking care of his sick old dad? I mean, it sounds so manipulative.
I was looking at, exactly. I was looking at manipulative. That's something I've got brought up here. It says manipulative behavior involves 3 factors: fear, obligation, and guilt.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the guilt part.
Yep.
You know, I don't know about the fear. I don't know what they would have fear. Maybe they would fear being ousted from the community, the cult community. The obligation, because you feel obligated to, because Tommy's your friend. But now we're in the guilt portion of that. You know, like Tommy is experiencing these hardships right now, which that's rough. It's a terrible thing. I know. I lost my mom 5 years ago. It's an awful thing. But at the same time, there's still this business there. There's all these problems. There's all these issues with investors. We can't just ignore that and pretend like everything is all hunky dory.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. And I want to just say, first of all, for the most part, I've been looking at the chat from time to time, purposely because of just the heaviness of this subject. This is not something where I'm like popping up all these comments right now, because I wanted people to speak and not have anything distracting them. And so I apologize if anyone feels like we're ignoring you. We are seeing it, but I want to thank it, because for the most part, I'm looking in the chat and it's very civil.
No, I didn't see. I was reading it. Nobody was attacking Smash, at least that I saw.
Which is a minor day miracle in today's day and age when it comes to the Amico, to have a chat that's this civil. So thank you.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay if I go on to the next phase?
Yes, go ahead.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one more article I wanted to share, and this is where we just say, like, is there cult-like behavior going on?
Oh yeah.
Which we have kind of seen. So this is from Rick Ross. I don't know a lot about him, but he's a cult expert, may have some criticisms. I don't know. But I just wanted to go in and look at kind of this check mark. This was from The Guardian, and it's called "Watch Out for Telltale Signs." And this is about a cult. So I want to go through these and see if some of these ring true. So like this is characteristics most commonly featured in destructive cults. One is a charismatic leader who increasingly becomes the object of worship as the general principles that may have originally sustained the group lose power. It's a living leader who has no meaningful accountability and becomes the single most defining element of the group and its source of power and authority.
Yeah. Yeah, that fits.
I read something very similar to that as I was I was studying the cult stuff. Yes,
because it definitely seems like the one common thread is Tommy.
Yes,
you know, and I don't have any ill will towards Tommy, but it seems like this is almost this. I've said it before, but this is more about the Tellerico Amico than the Intellivision Amico.
Yeah,
that it seems like a lot of the pro side who will die on this hill, they're also friends with Tommy. So it's almost like they're dying on the hill, not because they believe in the system, but because they believe in Tommy himself.
Right.
Absolutely. And they also, all of them fear him in a way. So they have to walk the same line he walks. And except, Smash was really close to him. So he was asking him questions to have another opinion, because everybody's always in agreement with what he says, which is not normal.
That's why I'm saying I don't harbor any ill will towards any of them if they are waking up. And I honestly, people are saying that Smash is doing this for clout or whatever. I mean, just talking to him right then, I'm pretty good at detecting BS. I always have been pretty good at that. I feel a genuine sense of an awakening from this guy. I mean, I'm sure there is something there that I'm sure that he could see the writing on the wall, and that's smart. He did the right thing to get away. But at the same time, I feel like he's been, as all of them have been manipulated and just pulled into this cult thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. And you know, it's interesting. like I said before, it's okay to judge Smash and make your own judgment if you think if he's sincere or if he's just doing it to save his own hide. It's okay, but you have to do it both ways. You have to look at Tommy Tallarico the same way. Like, is he doing this for himself, for his own self-interest, or is it really bigger than him?
Right.
And it's fair game to talk about both of them.
Yeah.
And the truth is, we can't see into their hearts. We can't see, you what's the difference between a liar and someone who's sincere? Well, it's what's inside, and you can't always tell it by looking at the outside, but you just look at the evidence presented to you. And I think this goes back to judicial skepticism. It's okay to show a little skepticism, especially after all the promises that have been made that have not been kept. So the second step is a process of indoctrination, brainwashing. The culmination of this process can be seen by members of the group often doing things that are not in their own best interest, but consequently in the best interest of the group and the leader. Do you think that rings any truth to what we're seeing?
100%. 100% exactly what we're seeing. Yeah.
It's not in their own best interest, exactly, because they are losing credibility for their own channel. And people that they're subscribers have not interacted with Tommy, so they haven't been placed under that spell. So it's definitely not in their best interest, and that's really the whole thing about this. The psychology aspect of it is why are they doing this?
People can figure out who I'm talking about if you've been in the loop. I'm not here to name names, okay, and I'm not attacking people, but there was one guy who really big in the pro Amico community, who on a stream said, Tommy told me 27 games are finished. And then the next day, Phil Adam appeared on a stream and said 20 are near complete. So it went from 27 finished to 20 near complete.
Right.
And this person said, well, Tommy told me that they were basically in final bug testing. Well, that's not finished. And I felt bad for that person because I felt like they were deceived.
Yeah.
And it ruins your credibility when one day you say 27 and the next day the new CEO says, well, we have 20 that are almost complete. It ruins your credibility. And I felt terrible about that. I honestly did.
How could you ever trust some of these people again? Like if they don't like Smash having this awakening, how could you ever trust somebody else's opinion if they ride this right off the cliff with Intellivision? There's your credibility is shot.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yes. So this one, not as big of a deal as, and by the way, there's cults that are more extreme, okay, where people actually physically harm themselves or do harm to others. So I want to, again, put this in perspective. This is showing echoes of some of this stuff. It doesn't mean it's as bad as, like a David Koresh thing or something like that. So economic, sexual, or other exploitation of group members by the leader and the ruling coterie. Obviously, I don't want to touch the sexual stuff. I don't think that has anything to do with anything in this. I think that's off the other things. But I do wonder if there is a little bit of exploitation going on. I don't know how you see it, but it does seem like there might be a little bit of exploitation going on.
They're exploiting their channels, their audience. They're exploiting their ability to, or their just willingness to believe what they're being told. So absolutely.
And so when Smash is told, put a positive comment on, and by the way, I guess he clarified it, and his time was short, so I didn't make him 100% clear because I could have talked to him for 2 hours.
Oh, we could have easily,
and I know other people want to talk to him, and I just feel, fortunate they dropped on. So, Smash, go talk to Tony sometime and other people as well. But, so one thing he clarified is that Tommy didn't directly tell him to do that, but it was like understood the way he said.
Implied.
It was implied.
Yes.
Because it would be illegal, I believe, for him to directly ask people to go dislike and leave comments. But if he says it indirectly, then he's just saying his opinion, and people understand what he means. They read between the lines.
And talking about like the psychology, like it was interesting, and I've always thought about this. Like they were in a position. Smash said that they would accept whatever the narrative was that they were telling them because they needed to have the tools to make their videos that would attack or come back at points that we were making that were just observations, things that we were seeing. That's really bizarre to me. But it's not surprising. That's like an easy way to. That's probably going back in maybe to that fear side of the manipulation, the fear that they're not going to be able to repel these attacks. They're not going to know what to say. We're going to come at them with these truth bombs, and they're going to have the fear of sounding stupid because, oh, well, maybe you're right. But they had like a clear message they wanted them to say to counteract any of our complaints.
Well, I think that's also part of this cult-like mentality that they're refusing to have any bad press.
Yes.
It's like the Scientology. If you talk against them on social media or whatever, they will send people outside of your house to spy on you and things like that. And I'm not saying, of course, Intellivision is that that cult-like, but there is pieces of it, and the fact that Tommy even suggests to go dislike people or go leave comments because he cannot handle even personal attacks in his position. I'm so sorry, you're the CEO of a corporation. Yeah. You have to be ready for personal attacks, and it just has to flow on your shell of indifference. You just have to let it go and not feed the trolls and just accept it. Like this is every company like this. There's nothing special with Intellivision. And the fact that he's been responding and attacking back everybody, that's just
it's
not
crazy.
The way to go. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's fascinating.
Ridiculous.
It's why we can have a discussion on the psychology of this, because it's bizarre. It's wild. It's unheard of. This is. I mean, it's not unprecedented, but at least it's unprecedented in this community. It's what I've seen.
And we've all of us grew up as gamers. I've never seen anything like this in my life.
No.
Part of it is because of social media, because it's all out in
Absolutely.
the open. Part of it because Tommy is such a P.T. Barnum, as Nick Richards called him, type who goes in front of everybody and talks about it. But I mean, the VCS didn't see anything like this. Evercade, nothing. Playdate, nothing like this.
No.
Even the Coleco Chameleon. There's something about this that's unique.
Yeah. And look, for example, Xbox takes a lot of backlash too. Do you see Phil Spencer reacting like this, or do you see him always calm and responding calmly? Like it's
that's the
right on day, huh?
That's the strange part about it is most companies do. They just deal with it. They don't go crazy in comment sections, and
they either address it professionally or ignore it.
Exactly.
And that's general, like how you probably should do it. So
Absolutely.
I want to get into this list. So he says some groups may not fit the definition of a cult, but may pose potential risk for participants. Here's 10 warning signs of potentially unsafe group or leader. And let's go through these real quickly. Absolute authoritarianism without meaningful accountability.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like a lot of people who are on the pro side will hold Tommy accountable
for no meaningful
accountability. What he said in the past.
That's us. That's us doing that.
We'll say well, why did you delay it all these times? They won't ask that. Why should we believe you this time? There's no accountability there. No tolerance for questions or critical inquiry.
At least not publicly. 100%. Smash did say that he would ask him these questions in private, but not publicly. They're not holding him accountable.
Yeah, because Smash is going to be nice about it, and he's a friend, but he cannot hear it from anybody else. That's the thing. Look at on Atari Age, like the screenshots, hundreds of screenshots of the things he said there. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I could, if I wanted to be more critical, I could say too, maybe Smash was treated differently because he gave money.
Yeah,
potentially,
definitely.
Right.
And about earlier we were talking about who's being sincere, Tommy or Smash, but he invested $10,000, and he should have been the last person to jump off the ship. Whereas Tommy, he has everything to gain by lying or by exaggerating things, gaslighting, delaying. So people will believe whatever they want to believe. But if you think logically, Smash had no reason to come out the way he did a week ago.
Well, because of Start Engine, this third one doesn't apply anymore, but no meaningful financial disclosure regarding budget or expenses, such as independently audited financial statements. I will say I thought it was interesting when Ars Technica said, this thing only costs $100, and they wrote the statement of facts and they said, no, it's more than that, but they didn't give a number. It's
Right.
like, don't bring it up unless you're going to give a number. That's what I thought. Like, I understand companies don't want to show all this financial stuff, but if you're going to bring it up, and if you're going to raise the price of the system $100, tell us why.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, they should be an open book if they want people to trust them. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but you're getting what you're don't know what the word I'm looking for here. But they're getting what they've been looking for. I mean, translating in French in my mind is not always easy.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Très bien. So unreasonable fear of the outside world, such as impending catastrophe, evil conspiracies, or persecutions. The only one to me that rings true is there is this kind of underlying current. The haters are out to ruin the dream.
The conspiracy, yes. And the persecution you could go with, not impending catastrophe, unless you consider the the fall of Amico an impending catastrophe.
Yeah.
There is no legitimate reason to leave, for former followers are always wrong in leaving, negative or even evil.
That's Smash JT right there.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's fascinating how a simple Google search, because I was just like, okay, I want a rubric. I want something to say, is it justified to call this a cult? So I find this expert. I don't know anything about him, but it's fascinating to me how easy some of these pieces fit.
It does. And
it's disturbing, honestly.
Like I said earlier, obviously there is like there's a lot of things that go on in cults that like abuse towards women and children. And so you can't obviously put it in there. And I was trying to find research. Like I Googled something and it wouldn't work, but I was like almost a cult, or I was trying to find things that were like shared pieces of a cult, but didn't go the full Jim Jones Kool-Aid craziness,
right.
So, but yeah, I'm reading this list here. It's a great list. It's so accurate.
Yeah, I think it's like some sort of a modern day cult, and feel terrible about saying that because I refuse to call them a cult. But now that we're reading this, I mean, it's really disturbing.
Yeah, it's the closest thing to a cult in the video game world, I guess. I mean, I guess you could make a case for Xbox and PlayStation fanboys, but there's not that charismatic leader that's at the center of all this.
Exactly, but no, they're not a cult because they respond professionally. They don't say they're always right or anything like that.
Right.
They're not going to bully you. They're not going to DM you to say, hey, go dislike PlayStation fanboys. The Xbox side isn't going to say that, and vice versa. It's really not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not the same at all.
No.
So former members often relate the same stories of abuse and reflect a similar pattern of grievances. So there's been no signs of physical abuse. I want to make that clear. Nothing like that. But it is interesting because I heard you on another show, one of your videos, Master System, you were talking about how you and Smash were talking, and it's like you had the awakening, for lack of a better word, at the same time.
Yes. So I DM him a lot. He's I consider him a close friend. And I was telling him, so we were still positive, and then I was telling him right after the Amico After Dark show, hey man, did you see this? Because I was reading the SEC filing, and did you see that? And did you see that Phil Adam was working on the Colico Chameleon? And he was like, what? So I don't know if he already knew, but we were realizing together at the same time And then we were talking about it, how crazy it was that they were just fooling everybody. And then the following day he made his video. Yes.
I
So
was
go
just
ahead.
sorry, real quick. I was just reading the chat. It looks like there's a fake Dean TV in the comment section that's like harassing people. Like there's a regular
Okay.
Dean TV. Just calling that out, letting people know.
All right. If someone sees it, let me know and we'll take care of that. Or if Tommy, if you're still in the chat, take care of it, because I would hate to block the wrong one. I would hate to do that. So we'll try and do it. Otherwise, just ignore them. So there are records, books, news articles, broadcast reports, and documents of the abuse of the group leader. We haven't gotten that to there where the abuses. I don't think we're going to find any sexual abuse or physical abuse or anything like that. That's not going to happen. There might be similar stories to how they've been treated, but we'll hear that from the members. So I want to move on to that one. Followers feel they can never be good enough. Kind of sounds a little bit like Smash's story when he was talking. When he left, feeling like he failed or something. I'm not sure. And this one rings true. It seems the group leader is always right.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And the last one, and then we'll close this tab. The group leader is the exclusive means of knowing truth or receiving validation. No other process or discovery is really acceptable or credible.
No.
That's where they would have to have the meetings to get the true message.
Yeah, it's crazy because we hear about misinformation and that is not the truth. And all a lot of us want is truth. Is true transparency, not this phony transparency where you talk a lot but you don't reveal. But why was the system, why did you say it would be ready in December and you're still waiting? What happened?
Yeah, there's no excuse. And when people use the pandemic as an excuse, pandemic can delay for a few months, maybe even 6 months. But for all of this time now, this is not the pandemic that's causing any hardware issues. They don't have anything in production. And this was supposed to be released when the first time? I mean, end of 2020. So... it's just there's something going on behind the scenes that nobody knows but Intellivision, and I think it's financial problems because they were $8 million in debt in 2020 already. So what's their debt now? How can they pay for production of these devices? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I could be wrong. I don't think they can. But even if you take the business side, we have seen this ugly side of the Amico come out. This ugly side of people attacking one another, which I'm never a fan of. I'm all about let's talk ideas, not attack people.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen this. And I want to make it clear again. I am not saying that people who like the Amico are brainwashed cult members, or this even tribe, if you will, for lack of a better word, is a cult like the Jim Jones cult. I'm not saying that it's like that it's up there. But what I'm saying is there's stuff I see that bothers me. There's stuff I see that concerns me. And there's people involved with it that I don't want to get hurt. And so I'm afraid that some people might be being manipulated and they don't even realize it. And like you said, I think Dave's saying if Tommy is doing this, he might not even realize he's doing it. Yeah. He might not realize that this approach is unhealthy. I would say that someone in Tommy's position probably should keep a boundary between him and the fans.
Yeah.
Yes.
There should be healthy boundaries where you're not going to their houses, you're not texting them regularly, because that puts that there's a power imbalance in there. You have the celebrity status. People get starstruck and they want to do whatever you say. They want to jump when you say jump. And there should be healthy boundaries.
Yeah. And you're right. And when you say he might not even know he's doing that, I thought about that too, and I'm not sure because, like Smashy was also saying, the same thing basically, that he cannot turn it on and off, and I kind of disagree with that because I worked in a call center before for a few years, and there when you're talking to clients, you have to be on your best behavior and trying to be friends with every client and try to get personal with them. I mean, that's the word I had for my company anyway. So and yeah, well, I had to turn it on, and then when I came home, I turned it off. So I don't know. Maybe that's what he's doing too, or maybe that's just the way he is at home as well. I don't know. I doubt though that when I see him, and he's overly, overly kind to everybody, I doubt that it's the real him. Personally, I don't think that it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, he's been around long enough. He's been around himself long enough to know. I mean, you know who you kind of know you are and what your gifts are.
Yeah.
And he would know like the things that he could do that could be manipulative. My question, I was asking, like, is he aware of the fact that is he intentionally trying to lie, or is he just because he just can't deal with upsetting people that he just embellishes the truth, that says, oh sure, we're gonna have something out by the end of this year, because he just doesn't want to let people down. Like I definitely think he knows he's being manipulative, but at the same time, I just don't know. The question is why does he say all these things? Why does he bring so much mistruth?
Yeah, and I just, there is a part of me that feels bad for Tommy. I'm the type of person who likes to believe the best in everybody. And I like to believe that we all make mistakes, and sometimes we don't realize we're making mistakes even when we do, and that people are redeemable and people can change. I'm just that kind of optimistic kind of person. So I feel a little bad for Tommy, because here's a guy who genuinely loves the Intellivision, I believe, genuinely wanted to bring this system out to the world. I think he got in over his head, and he's going through a lot of crud. It doesn't excuse the lies. It doesn't excuse some of the behavior. So I feel bad for him, because I want people to succeed. I don't wish ill will on him. I want people to succeed, and I don't wish ill will on pro Amico people. I want people who want their system to get their system. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. No. And I think that sometimes you show you care about a person by telling them the truth. And I think the truth is, brace yourself.
Yep. Yeah. And I think we're going to see if he really is a good person when all of this, I mean, in a few months, when all of this either ends or it gets released. But the way he's going to come out of this and what he's going to say, if it doesn't get released, if he's going to admit that there were mistakes and he's sorry, and because I'm not even sure he's going to do that.
No, I don't think he's going to apologize. I think he has a whole bag of excuses ready to go. I mean, it's going to be the pandemic. It'll be us, the haters. I don't think we'll ever get an apology.
But that's the thing. If he goes that route, and I also think he's going to say it's the fault of the haters. And like some president of some soccer club, they also say it's because of the ultras. The soccer fans with the flags and all that, is their fault. So I think he's going to come out the same way and just blame the haters, which in this case, then I will not feel bad for him. I will not. But if
go ahead. Sorry.
But if he's genuine and he admits that he was not thinking clearly and he really wanted the system to come out, but unfortunately the finances were, and he's like honest and he's an open book, then okay, we can. I can totally forgive him, but I don't think he's going to go that way. We'll see.
People tend to be really accepting and forgiving if you're genuine.
Yeah.
Or at least if you appear that way. Like you said, if he comes out and he blames the haters and he blames Pat and Ian, or he blames whoever, it's amazing, because this system is supposed to reach millions of people. And yet, Pat and Ian, they're big in the retro gaming community, but the soccer moms are trying to reach, they could care less.
Yeah.
They have no idea who they are. But if he comes out and does that, he's shooting himself in the foot.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I wanted to just give this idea. I want to get on my soapbox for a second more. If I think all of us in this chat, we're like, to the people who might be called cult, we want to reach those people.
Yeah.
We want to have conversations and be like, we care about you. We're not doing this to destroy your dreams. We're doing this to wake you up from the matrix to save your life.
Right,
I mean, that's
exactly.
going to an extreme. That's going into an extreme, but that's what we're saying is like, we're concerned, and we care enough to say we're concerned.
Yeah.
And I would say, if you want to reach these people, I don't think you reach them by insulting them and calling them a cult. I think you reach them just by being accessible and by being willing to listen. And if they're ready to talk, like Marcel is and like Smash is, be ready, be there.
Yeah.
Because I haven't shut my door on anybody, and I don't think Dazed has.
No, I've said, I said it in my video. I'm ready to listen. I want to hear these stories. I want people to come out and see the light, I guess.
Yeah, my two last videos, my last one was a message to all of them, actually, plus Tommy, and the one before that was to the etheric creep, and I've been as nice as I could with them. I never insulted them in my videos, and I was just trying to reach out to them in a kind way, because I think both sides are, too intense at sometimes. But no, I was trying. I also even talked to Sagi for a long time. We tweeted back and forth a lot, and she's the way she is. I still stayed calm with her, and I mean, I know she doesn't like me, and that's fine. You cannot like everybody on Earth, so I'm not expecting everybody to like me. But I'm trying to reach to all of them.
Yeah, and I like Sagi. I've had her on a few times, and I think she'll talk. And I appreciate people who will talk. There's a lot of people on the pro side. I'm buddies with Atari Creep, and he's gotten some flack, but he'll talk, and I'm like, I want to get to a point where we can be like, you know what? If I don't like the Amico and you do, that's cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But let's be willing to talk about it and not, censor me because I don't like it. I like to talk about it's like this. It's like if you had if you liked NFL football, you should be able to talk about all the teams and all the players.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we should be able to do it without getting into a fist fight, Yeah.
But the problem is here, you're not talking about, it's like if you do the football reference, you're not talking about the team as a whole. You're talking about one player, and here it's all about Tommy again, because we're not talking about the console here. We're just discussing Tommy. That's always what it is, if you criticize the Amico, it's because you're a Tommy hater. Basically, it's never about the console. We can never have a discussion about, hey, can you justify what's going on with Intellivision right now? There's this and this happening. How do you justify that? And oh no, you're a Tommy hater. That's the response you get.
That's the cult aspect of it right there. The charismatic leader.
So because I would love to discuss with them what's going on with the console instead of just believing what Phil Adams said. That's completely the opposite of what the SEC filing is. But. It's not very easy to do that. It's hard to reach out to them, but I'm trying.
I wonder if there wasn't like this, if there wasn't, because it like Smash said, like this is going to, some of them are going to take longer to break free from this because they're still fighting this battle. Like it's literally about they don't want to admit that they could have been wrong. And the fact that we're making these videos, I just don't. It's going to take a lot of these people. I don't think are going to come out of it because they don't. Maybe there's a pride or an ego thing, or it's just embarrassing that they could realize that they were manipulated and they were brought into this situation that to all the rest of us. I mean, surely they got to look at this too and realize that there's some problems.
So let me bring this up because there was two things I wanted to talk about regarding psychology that got involved early on. One is money. Mm-hmm. When you put money into something, I remember I was doing a little thing for a social event, and my mentor said I was going to do it for free because it could be done for free. And my mentor said, you need to charge money because once people put down some money, they'll care about it more. They'll be less likely not to show up. Even if it's just $10 for the event, something cheap, you need to charge money, he said, so people get more invested in it. So, okay, we did that. Well, they took pre-orders and they opened up investments. As soon as people put money in the game, it makes it harder for them to come against it and look at it and take criticism, because if they do, they have to admit, I bet on the wrong horse, or maybe the horse I bet on is not going to win after all.
This is exactly why Smash JT coming out the way he did is such a huge deal, because he didn't not only pre-order it, he invested a lot of money into that. So,
and I'll say this, I'll give credit to Smash JT for this, for all the people who are doubting his integrity or sincerity. There's no way he's going to make $10,000 off the views he's getting. Talking about he is. I mean, it literally. For those of you who don't know, on YouTube, typically it takes 1,000 views to get $1.
Yeah.
So if his total videos have made 10,000 views that talking about the Amico recently, wow, he's got $10 left or back. Like, that's seriously, he's not getting money talking about it like this.
Yeah,
People think he is. It doesn't happen that way. As someone who's been on YouTube, you have to really work your tail off to make any kind of decent money, and you have to get a little luckier, be very skilled. You know, it's very hard to make money on YouTube. So he kind of tanked himself. He kind of threw away by saying, I don't think this is going the right direction. For a $10,000 investor, what's that telling the other investors?
Yeah. They should see that as the biggest red flag of all of them, like you said, those views don't get you anything. Some small YouTube channels, to be fair, still make money doing streams and then getting super chats, but that's not his case. He never streams anything, so you can say that he's doing that for the money. He's really just doing it for the fun and for this community. He just likes YouTubing the way I like it too, the way you do, you both do here. But we don't make anything out of this, so
no, and it's no surprise. It's not like it's shocking that somebody would begin to see things from the other side. I mean, this is going to be happening. People have to begin to see things rationally. I mean, especially looking. I mean, in the past, Intellivision has, they've been able to raise money. People that are pro Amico have to be looking, they have to be going to that Start Engine site and seeing that, it just barely has crossed over $60,000. So that could begin to accelerate people not trusting as much, because then they begin to see that the public opinion is waning, that they're not, in the past, it's like, oh, look, they were raising money. Look, we are doing this. So they may begin to step back.
And let me remind people, according to what I read, people can cancel their Start Engine investment as long as the campaign doesn't have less than 48 hours to go.
Yeah, because they have. I've seen it fluctuate. I've seen it go up and down a little bit.
I have heard some people say, I think, and I could be wrong, but I heard some people say like they have 48 hours after they make their pledge. And I think it doesn't matter as long as there's 48 hours left in the campaign. And we don't know how many days are left. They make it hard to see. So until it's at the end and Start Engine says 8 days left, I don't think we see. If someone knows how to find out, I'd appreciate knowing, but I don't know how to do that.
I haven't been able to have anybody give me an answer on that.
Yeah. And then, so there's psychology. Money changes people. So whether you put $100 on a pre-order or you invest in it, it doesn't mean everyone's the same way, because to some people, $100 is nothing, right? But there's some people, or if you put $1,000, it can change it. It can change the way that you view it, and you'll become more positive about it because you don't want to say you bet on the wrong horse. The other thing is when you become friends with someone, and Tommy's reached out and he's become friends, now you're not defending the system, you're defending your buddy.
I think that Retro Bro party really helped establish that family unit, all of them meeting and coming together and becoming friends. And you're right. Yeah, it's not just about the system. It's about defending your friends.
Yeah. And let me just say this. If you don't want to be a cult, be able to have friends who don't like the Amico. If your only friends are about the Amico, you look like a cult.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm not sure that's going to change. I'm still hoping, but let's see after this stream if anybody texts us and say, oh, we liked your point of views. You guys were fair or anything like that. I'm very curious.
Well, this is the only way we're going to change some people's opinion. That's why I've kind of, I mean, I was for a while making more of attack videos just because I was confused and I felt like I was being silenced, like I wasn't allowed to have an opinion. But I'm kind of flip-flopping. I think the only way that now, as far as getting people to break free from this, is by being a little bit more accepting of them and presenting a side over here. It's like, hey, you can come on over. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to come at you. Yeah. So that's really about the only way I think we're going to get to a point where we can break this and defeat this.
Yeah. Right. No. And just to be clear, what we're looking to defeat is not Intellivision.
Yes, no.
It's
sorry.
not
that was a bad word. That's not a good word.
But it gives me a chance to clarify. It's not to defeat Tommy Tellerico. It's not to defeat the Amico. It's to defeat this barrier that's been put up in between us that has separated us as retro gamers because we have differing opinions of what we're seeing.
Yeah. And to be fair, if Intellivision does release a console that hits retail, because I don't have a pre-order, so if it hits retail, I will buy it. It doesn't matter the price. I will buy one. And if it's bad, it's bad. I'll take the hit. But I don't think that's gonna go there. I don't think that's that's gonna hit retail. That's a problem. They said that they have to manufacture in China. They first have to sell the founders. How are they gonna do that?
Well, they're supposedly going to make the founders in the U.S. to get them out earlier, but it's going to cost. Every system's going to be at a loss. Yeah. And meanwhile, their 2020 numbers say they spend about $6,800 a day just on operating expenses. Yeah. $6,800 a day. Yet they're not even raising that much per day on Start Engine right now. How can you sell a system at the loss when you don't have money?
And don't forget, $100 of every system goes to
Sudesh.
The Sudesh.
Yeah.
So it's impossible. It's literally impossible. Really, the only thing they could do would be to release some Founders Editions and then be done, and just so they could say that they had some kind of a release. That's the only thing I could see happening.
Thank you, Matt. The SEC filing indicates the deadline to reach the target offering April 30th, 2022. So that means after this month. Let's see, then let's see, it's February, March, April. So I think it's a 90-day campaign then.
Sure.
Basically, because I think it's like 60 or 90 or somewhere in between that. So they got a lot of time yet, but how do you turn it around?
It's not. They're gonna make maybe 100,000, maybe 150, but that's nothing. They need 1 million or millions. This is peanuts for them. Yeah. What you gonna do with 100K?
What they had enough money for like 2 months or something, right?
On January 19th, that's when they did that. That's when the document, the offering details is made. They said that they had 1 to 2 months worth of operating expenses if they didn't raise the $10 million total, because they're trying to get $5 million on Start Engine and $5 million from outside. They said that they would only have that. Well, guess what? That we're already a month past. So, and maybe they did get some money, but this is the deal. People say, well, you're just hating on this. You're trying to destroy the dreams. No, I'm trying to save someone's grandmother from dropping $500 on something that's about to go down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. And I might be wrong. It's just my opinion. I'm not a financial expert, but I look at the numbers, and financial dummy me somehow looks at it and says, this don't look good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's trying to save the investors, also trying to save some YouTubers' reputation, because I would love nothing more than to have them, open their eyes and finally say the same things that Smash has been saying, that I've been saying, that we were wrong. I think the more of them open their eyes, the more of a snowball effect it's going to have. And I hope we're not just going to be him and I to have opened
I don't
their
think
eyes.
It will.
I don't think it will, because that is the way it's trending, right? How many people are critics now becoming pro Amico?
None that I'm aware
Nobody.
of.
See.
No, it's all
Yeah.
these people, and I see it in the comments. I asked for my money back. I asked for my pre-order back. It's the Smashes and the Marceaus who are saying, you know what? Something don't smell right.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been trying to tell people in so many words. My smoke detector's been going off
Yeah.
with this project, and I've been covering this since day one. I was excited day one. If this was still the $180 system with the 7-pack in games and the majority of the Intellivision original library built into it, I probably would have a pre-order to this day.
Yeah.
If that's what it was. But they jumped the price, they left out a bunch of stuff, and I said, and then I started seeing more and more things going on. And who cares about lag at this point, if it's laggy or not, because there is so much going on in the business side. And so much going on the social media side with just people attacking people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to say about the price again. Also, it is ridiculous. It's the power of a Raspberry Pi. You can buy any device like that on Alibaba for like $50, and it has a front end as well. Maybe it's not as fancy as the Amico, so maybe you put a little bit more work into that. But they come with a small Android box. They come with 2 controllers. You cannot tell me that this is worth $350 with the power that's in there,
Right.
So people are not stupid. Okay, you might get a few soccer moms, but this is if you only get that, if that's your only market that you're aiming at, you're going to fail. You need way more than that to be successful, and they can't. People know, like, except people like us here, the really hardcore gamers who are interested in the Amico, will buy one even if it's just for curiosity, because we've been talking about this for a long time. But the general public, the regular gamers and the regular soccer moms, they will not be buying. I mean, maybe a couple soccer moms, but
not enough.
Yeah, like a few of them that come across it in Bath and Beyond might buy it.
Yeah,
but as they won't even know what it is, it would be like, man. But then they will see the price though, and they will question themselves. I don't see a soccer mom taking $300 for a device they don't even know what it is. They know what a Nintendo Switch is. They don't know what an Amico is.
Right. Hey, Days Gaming. Was this you who said nice fake me with Dean's picture? Is that you in the chat?
No, somebody else. I just said that there was somebody posted a thing of me.
But that's you who said that, right?
I did say that. Somebody was making fun of somebody else with my name, but they had the wrong avatar. So I just was, yeah.
Okay. I think I just made you a mod. So just so you, because I don't, some of these people you might know better than me in case we have to take care of it. I'm not big on blocking people, but if they're just trolling, or they're impersonating, go ahead and take care of that. So I want to say this too, because one of the, they said that it's interesting. I should be their target audience other than I'm not a mom, because I am the family-friendly dad who loves to do things with his kids, who wants, I'm the no swear gamer. I don't like profanity. I should be their target audience. I should be fish in a barrel for them.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's saying this don't smell right.
Right.
I mean, and so I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't hate the idea. Like the idea a lot.
Yeah.
It's just the execution and the way they've treated people I don't care for.
No, that goes totally against the family friendly side of it. It's going to turn anybody that would be like that, like no swear gamer that would want more of the family friendly thing. They're going to see the rest of this nonsense and be completely turned off by it.
And the thing that makes me think that this might be less about the vision and more about the money or the glory of releasing a successful system is that they don't carry themselves like a family-friendly company.
No.
Like I hear them swearing sometimes, which listen, if it happened a few times in this stream, I don't get upset about it. People are people. I don't get upset when people swear. But what I'm saying is if you're going to be Mr. Family-Friendly System, you should be acting like that all 24/7 when you're out in public.
Yep.
John Madden, I heard he could swear like a sailor, but when the mic went on, that
Never.
stopped.
Yeah.
People wouldn't know that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
If they're the family friendly company, like you're saying, they should be like the No Swear Gamer. They should be like the Arlos of this world, and be like be 100% clean of any bad words like this. There's no excuse for that. They want to be better than Nintendo, yet they are worse than any fanboys that you can find on Twitter sometimes. This is mind blowing. There's just no excuse for that.
It's fascinating to hear you talking like this. It's we've been waiting for this. It's a great time to be covering the Amico. For finally people are starting to, or at least two of y'all are saying the things that we've been saying since the beginning, which initially brought me into this. It's an awesome time, I think, because we're getting some validation that we're not crazy.
Yeah, and I will add to this that when I saw the interviews from Tommy on the small channels, and he was talking about the haters, I was on his side. I thought he was completely right. I thought I even had interactions with Tony before, and they were not good. I was like, man, you're one of the worst haters out there. I'm admitting this because I'm always honest. It's like with my wife too. She knows I never lie about anything. I just say it the way it is, and it was really wrong of me. And now I can just say, "Hey, I was wrong. I'm sorry." Nobody's perfect. What else am I gonna say? But I'm happy that you guys, still talk to me and.
I imagine there will be quite a bit of people that won't, because this has been going on for so long, and so many people have been attacked. And I mean, I've had so many. I mean, you can see it right here in the your chat. People doing stuff. I mean, I've had so many trolls coming after me, and I've only been talking about this. I started talking about this, I think, in June. So I can only imagine what people have been dealing with in the last two or 3 years. So it's easier for me to be more accepting, but I can imagine some people that have been really entrenched in this thing for a while are not going to be so open and accepting. But I think maybe over time, we can move beyond this. But I would say you should probably be prepared, so.
Yeah, and I also think it depends on how deep you dug yourself into your hole, because me, except saying what I just said now, I've always been respectful to people, but some of them, like Retro Bro, after what he's been saying, now he really probably feels like he has to double down on all of this.
Absolutely. It's embarrassing it would be embarrassing to admit at this point that and I got a thing right here, and I was going to say it real quick, if you don't mind, something from an article. It says, nobody wants to admit that a cult is a cult. I think people deny the fact they're in a cult after they've realized it, because it has such a negative connotation to it for good reason. It's kind of embarrassing to admit that you're in a cult. They don't want to see it for what it is, especially if they're still in that organization.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll just say again, this isn't a cult as a traditional sense.
No.
And personally, I'm fine with not calling it a cult. What I am fine with saying is there's some unhealthy behavior.
Right.
There's that shares characteristics with a true cult, and people, if anything, get healthy with your communication, get healthy with the way you treat one another and you treat critics. Do it in a healthy way, not in a way that echoes. I put that list up there of what dangerous groups are like, and there's too many check marks.
Yes.
And I'll let people judge for themselves. But like we've said before, we're not here to attack people. We're here to help. We're here to say it's kind of like an intervention. It kind of really is.
It is.
And it's just trying to say, like, hey, look at Smash JT, Master System Marceau. They recognize some of the unhealthy things, and we just want this unhealthiness to go away. We want Tommy to be an upright person in the gaming industry who does things with real integrity and who is able to enjoy his time with his dad, taking care of his dad. We want the people on the other side. We want to be able to have conversations with them. We don't have to agree. We can talk about lag. We could talk about whether these games are, worth $10, or I could go on the Android store and buy stuff similar for $2. We can have those disagreements, but in the end of the day, we're retro gamers. Most of the people watching and whatever, we're gamers. Yeah. Let's enjoy games. And if you like one game and I don't, listen, when I was a kid, it was all Sega versus Nintendo. Yeah. There are some people who would die on that hill. Well, guess what? I like Sega and I like Nintendo. Yeah. I don't like every game you like, but it's okay. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done, man.
It's the same. Me, I used to be a diehard Sega fan. I still am a diehard.
Get out of here. Master System? No way.
I still am, as you can see. But I would have died on that hill, never touch a Nintendo. Now, however, I own a Switch. I've owned pretty much all Nintendo consoles. It took me, years, but, also woke up that, hey, Nintendo games are good. And, maybe sometimes the company does shady things that Sega does not, like going after the ROM sites and all that, whereas Sega, and it's what the subject of my video today, Sega, on the other hand, they have convention where people show their fan games using the code from their games. So it's two different mentalities. So I still think Nintendo sometimes a little bit shady, but I enjoy their games now, and I love their games.
All right. Well, I think this is a good time to wrap up. We've been going almost 2 hours. I like what Genovi says here. I'm wrong all the time. If you're human, you're going to be wrong. It's all about correcting those mistakes and trying to be better. Yeah. That's what makes a solid person. And I hope anyone who's watched this chat understands our heart. Our heart's not to attack. Yeah. Our heart's to open communication. So did you guys have anything to add before we call it a night?
Well, for me, again, it's exactly what I've been saying on my channel. I don't know if you guys have been watching my videos, but I'm always saying exactly that. So that if you're wrong, you're a better person for admitting being wrong, because I see so many people, especially in 2022, refusing to change their minds. And it's the same with politics, wherever you're on the political spectrum, and people stay in their boxes. And if their party says something, they refuse to even look at what the other side is saying. Because for me, the truth is always somewhere in the middle. And even here, with all we've been saying, there's probably some things where we're going a little bit too far. And maybe, Intellivision truly is trying certain things, although it's not looking that way. But I always want to think that the truth is somewhere in the middle. And this is why it would be nice to talk to them and have a healthy conversation and find out what really is going on. But in this day and age, it's very, very hard thing to do. And I hope people that watch this stream and watch my videos and these videos, they can just calm down and we can give our hand, and they can reach out for our hand back. So that's all I want to say on this.
Good. Taste.
Well, I agree. I like what he said there. I still think there's plenty of videos that we can make. I mean, we can still. I still think it's fair to be critical of the Amico, and there's still plenty to talk about. I mean, we could literally do a 10-hour stream like they did last night, continuing to go on talking about the psychology of all this, and it's just been, the whole thing has been really fascinating for me from the beginning. I've always been somebody who has really followed politics, and I think that that's kind of what has drawn me into this, is that it is a microcosm of what politics in America today. When you were talking about it's hard to change people's mind in 2022, and you can just look at the state of our country right now where we're in. We're so divided, and it's like you can't. There's a thing. I think it was it was two movies, one screen is what I heard somebody say one time, that we're being presented two different narratives. We're all watching the same screen, but we're each seeing different movies, and that's what's been going on with this Intellivision Amico, because you've got the stuff that's been coming out from Intellivision itself. That's one movie, and then you have the rest of us who are just looking at documents, saying these things, and speaking our truths, and that's the other movie. So I don't know. I mean, we could go on about this forever, but I know it's been 2 hours, but it's fascinating, and I'm going to continue to make videos talking about this, and I will try going forward. I'm going to try to be a little bit more, like I said, not quite as attacking, unless I see somebody doing something. Like if I see these other YouTubers like really coming at Smash JT, I'm going to call them out for that. You know, like, why are you being this way? Why are you so against him? Like, why are you attacking him? Why can't he have this opinion? Why does it have to be that way? You know?
Yeah. Well, I've always been a fan of saying you go after ideas, not the person.
Exactly.
You know, so because some people would say, you know, would just insult them, but to say, well, why do you think that way? Why do you think that? Why can't you? Isn't it possible that he feels this way?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I am going to end this broadcast the way I used to end my Atari 7800 game by game podcast. So thank you guys. I hope you all have a wonderful night. And remember, games are fun, but keep first things first. I'll talk to you all.